Ask a 70-year-old how fast the last hour went. They'll tell you what a teenager would. Then ask about the last 10 years. Something changes. They're gone. A whole decade shrunk down to almost nothing. And if you're honest, you can feel the same scene creeping into your own life. Most people just call it getting older and brace for it to get worse. But here's the part nobody tells you. Time didn't speed up. Your memory just stopped writing it down. Start with what really changes, because it's smaller than you'd think. The last hour, the last week, even the last year. They feel about the same speed whether you're 15 or 70. Everyone says fast. Nobody says a year drags. The speeding up only shows up over the long run. Ask about the last 10 years, and it's older people who say it flew by. So this isn't your days getting shorter. It's your decades quietly going missing. And notice when it happens. We say time flies like it's rushing past us right now. It isn't. A dull afternoon still drags. A slow meeting still won't end. There are two different kinds of time here. The time you feel while you're living an hour, and the time you build back when you look at it later. The first one is fine. It moves at its normal steady pace. The speeding up is all in the second one. Up close, every hour ticks by, like always. It's only when you look back that whole years have gone. You've probably heard the reason. When you're 5, a year is a fifth of your whole life. When you're 50, it's 1/50th, a thinner slice, so it should feel shorter. 10 times shorter even. It's neat. It's the version in almost every article. And it's almost certainly wrong. Because if a year felt shorter just for being a smaller piece of your life, then this past year should feel faster to you now than it did when you were young. It doesn't. The math is nice. It just isn't the reason. So here's the reason that does fit. When you ask how long a stretch of time was, looking back, your brain doesn't check a clock. It counts memories. A stretch packed with separate moments feels long. A stretch with almost nothing in it feels short. And it barely matters how many days were really in each one. Think of a year you can barely remember, next to one you could almost tell hour by hour. The second one feels longer, even if the calendar says they were the same. That's the whole trick. Looking back, memory isn't where time is kept. Memory is the ruler you measure it with, and the ruler is picky about what it keeps. Something new and surprising gets written down in full. Something familiar barely leaves a mark. Your brain already knows it, so it doesn't bother. A year with a new city, a new job, new faces, leaves dozens of separate memories. A year of the same trip to work, the same desk, the same evening on the couch leaves just a few. Now think how much of grown-up life is that same trip to work. That's the trap. This is why childhood felt so big. Not the long summers and not your memory going soft on you. Firsts. First day of school, first bike, the first time you saw the sea. Back then almost everything was new, so almost everything got saved. And those early years end up packed full, taking up far more room in your memories and their share of the clock. That's why they feel huge looking back. Then you grow up, the firsts run out, and the years start to copy and paste. It's the same world it always was. You just stopped writing so much of it down. You felt this whole thing yourself, on a holiday. A week somewhere, new races by while you're in it. And yet look back a month later, and that same week feels long. Longer somehow than the plain weeks on either side of it. That's the clue that gives it away. Same 7 days. It just held so much more. The same dial that shrinks your decades can blow a single week wide open. You didn't imagine it. It's the clearest proof there is. And it's sitting in your own memory, which means it was never really about the clock at all. And here's the part you can actually use. The whole thing runs on new things, which means you can run it backwards, new places, a different way home, something you're clumsy at, anything that makes your brain sit up and take notes, instead of letting the days slide past. Feel a stretch of life with new things and it grows back, long and full, when you look back on it. This isn't willpower, and it isn't just a nice saying. It's the same machine, run the other way. Your years don't have to collapse. Time didn't speed up. Your memory just stopped writing it down. So give it something worth writing.